Question? Yes.
Excuse me. You said that this was a positive meeting, but from the outside it seemed quite contentious. Did you get any indication from your interlocutors that they were going to make any concessions to you? And I believe that you raised the idea of a tariff-free G7. Is that? I
did. Oh, I did. That's the way it should be. No tariffs, no barriers. That's the way it should be. And no subsidies. I even said no tariffs. In other words, let's say Canada, where we have tremendous tariffs. The United States pays tremendous tariffs on dairy, as an example, 270%. Nobody knows that. We pay nothing. We don't want to pay anything. Why should we pay? We have to, ultimately, that's what you want. You want a tariff-free, you want no barriers, and you want no subsidies, because you have some cases where countries are subsidizing industries, and that's not fair. So you go tariff-free, you go barrier-free, you go subsidy-free. That's the way you learned at the Wharton School of Finance. I mean, that would be the ultimate thing. Now, whether or not that works, but I did suggest it, and people were, I guess they're going to go back to the drawing board and check it out, right? But we can't have an example where we're paying, the United States as paying 270%. Just can't have it. And when they send things into us, you don't have that. I will say it was not contentious. What was strong was the language that this cannot go on. But the relationships are very good, whether it be President Macron or with Justin. Justin did a really good job. I think the relationships were outstanding. But because of the fact that the United States leaders of the past didn't do a good job on trade, and again, I'm not blaming countries, I'm blaming our people that represented our past. It's got to change. It's going to change. I mean, it's not a question of, I hope it changes. It's going to change 100%. And tariffs are going to come way down, because people cannot continue to do that. We're like the piggy bank that everybody's robbing, and that ends. In fact, Larry Kudlow is a great expert on this, and he's a total free trader. But even Larry has seen the ravages of what they've done with their tariffs. Would you like to say something, Larry, very quickly? Might be interesting.
Well, one interesting point in terms of the G7 group meeting, I don't know if they were surprised with President Trump's free trade proclamation, but they certainly listened to it, and we had lengthy discussions about that. As the President said, reduce these barriers. In fact, go to zero. Zero tariffs, zero non-tariff barriers, zero subsidies. And along the way, we're going to have to clean up the international trading system, about which there was virtual consensus of agreement on that, and that will be a target. And these are the best ways to promote economic growth. We'll all be better at it. We'll all be stronger at it. So I myself was particularly gratified to hear my president talk about free trade. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Larry. And it's very unfair to our farmers. Our farmers are essentially, whether it's through a barrier, non-monetary barrier, or whether it's through very high tariffs that make it impossible. And this is all over the world. This isn't just G7. I mean, we have India where some of the tariffs are 100%. 100%. And we charge nothing. You can't do that. And so we are talking to many countries. We're talking to all countries. And it's going to stop. Or we'll stop trading with them. And that's a very profitable answer if we have to do it. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. Another question on trade. You just said that you think that the tariffs are actually going to come down, but it does appear that these various countries are moving forward with retaliatory tariffs on the U.S. Did you get any concessions or any agreements with any of these countries not to move forward with those tariffs, and are you willing to not move forward?
Well, if they retaliate, they're making a mistake, because you see, we have a tremendous trade imbalance. So when we try and bring our piece up a little bit so that it's not so bad, and then they go up, right? The difference is they do so much more business with us than we do with them that we can't lose that. You understand? We can't lose it. And as an example, with one country, we have $375 billion in trade deficits. We can't lose. You could make the case that they lost years ago. But when you're down $375 billion, you can't lose. And we have to bring them up. So there's very bad spirit when we have a big trade imbalance and we want to bring it up to balance, just balance, and they keep raising it so that you never catch. That's not a good thing to do. And we have very, very strong measures that take care of that because we do so much. The numbers are so astronomically against them in terms of anything as per your question. We win that war 1,000 times out of 1,000. Yes, sir. So two things can happen on NAFTA. We'll either leave it the way it is as a threesome deal with Canada, with the United States and Mexico, and change it very substantially. We're talking about very big changes. Or we're going to make a deal directly with Canada, directly with Mexico. Both of those things could happen. If a deal isn't made, that would be a very bad thing for Canada, and it would be a very bad thing for Mexico. For the United States, frankly, it would be a good thing. But I'm not looking to do that. I'm not looking to play that game. So we're either going to have NAFTA in a better negotiated form, or we're going to have two deals.
Does it have to have a sunset clause in it?
It'll have a sunset. You have the two sunsets. I mean, you have a ISDS provision and a sunset provision. They've been very heavily negotiated. You have two sunsets, two concepts of sunset. We're pretty close on the sunset division. Okay? Well, we have one that's 5 years. You know it very well. You've studied this very well. Congratulations. That's right. You have one group that likes to have 5 years and then a renegotiation at the end of 5 years. Then you have another group that wants longer because of the investments. So, but we're pretty close. Yes, sir.